Throughout this tutorial, I will be exploring how to create a unique sample-based pad. The sample we're using is a C chord recorded from a grand piano. The sample is available for download on the downloads page and is called Piano Chord C. Let's take a listen. Take note of what frequencies are attenuating so we have a good idea of what to boost or decrease once re-imported into Reason. Okay, let's take a little look and listen of how to create the sample-based pad. As you can hear, it gives an atmospherical, sort of subtle, deep feel to the track. Couldn't really use this as a harsh, prominent lead, but works very well. Just give a subtle feeling, a subtle motif to the track. Okay, let's have a look how we can create this. On your ambient mixer or your non-drum mixer, I've got all my synths and basses on one mixer, and then I've got all my drums, crashes and splashes on another one. So I'm going to create my sample-based pad on my ambient mixer and create a combinator, and within that combinator create a mixer 6.2. Give your combinator a name so we know what it is on the mixer. Piano pad, I'm going to call mine. And on that mixer, create 2 NNXT samplers. Initialize both those patches. And load in your sample of your choice. If you're using the downloaded piano pad sample, if that's good. If you want to use a different sample, this technique will work very well for any stab sort of sample. Load my second one in. So load the same sample into both NXTs in your remote editor and close those up. And on the top one, this is mixer channel 2, create an arpeggiator and leave that at 1/16. And on the other one, do the same. However, take this one down to 1/8D. And let's take a listen to that now. Still sounds very much like a piano though. So go ahead and put a little bit of attack on either sampler. I'm going to put mine at 11.1 milliseconds. Make sure it's the same on both of the NXT samplers. Let's take a listen to that now. Just taking the harsh start of the note off it, just gives it a lot more of a subtle feel. And turn your 1/16 arpeggiator sampler up. I'm going to put mine at 108. Yeah, and keep the other one around 100. You can just hear the ticking of the 1/16 a bit more. It gives it a bit more of a funky feel. Okay, and the 1/16 arpeggiator, create a screen for distortion unit on there, and head down to tape. And I'm going to keep mine around 60 to 70. And just here it gives it a slight more of a sort of harsher feel. A bit more dynamic, and create a filter on the whole combinator. So just right mouse on the top of the combinator and create envelope controlled filter, and drag that into your combinator so you know where that lives. And this just gives a bit more dynamic control for the whole subtlety or non-subtlety to your preference of the feel of the sample-based pad. So if we had the filter around 50 Hz, the frequency allowance, so let's take a listen to that. As you can hear, it's much more subtle. Feel free to have it attenuate the whole frequency range. I'm going to keep mine round 70 to 80. Just gives it that nice subtlety. Okay, go ahead and close your device rack for your piano pad combinator and create effect all the way at the top. And these are the Reason patches. These are in the Reason Factory sound bank. And head to all effect patches and hit pattern based and go down to Wandering BF. This works very well on this technique. So now you can hear that rising and ascending sort of feel, ascending and decreasing feel. There's a bit of panning in there as well, a bit of automated panning within that effect. Wipe your LFO rate up. This gives it a more sort of mystic feel, gives it a lot more atmosphere. Let's take a listen to that in the mix now. Give it some drums and my piano pad. Hit my loop on. And feel free to bring your filter on your sample based pad up or down. And there we have it, sample based pad. You can use this technique to create any sort of sample based pad really. If you just use the arpeggiators and keep them at different ratios, you'll always be able to create a stab sound into a sustained sound, and don't hesitate to put any other effects on there or EQ it. I'm going to put a bit of EQ on mine. Remember in our frequency analysis we saw that the peak was at 2 to 500 and the roll off was 1 to 2 to 3k. So I'm going to go ahead and peak mine at about 300 and give that some gain and trim it down. I'm going to also give it some 2k because that's where the roll off was. 1.6. And I'm going to enable the high shelf and just boost that a little bit. It cuts through a little bit nicely. Do remember though, once you change your EQ, your filter will seem a little bit more drastic once you raise it all the way, but if you want to keep it subtle, just keep it down, it will sound good. So there we have it, a sample based pad, and remember to head over to makemeaproducer.com for more tutorials.